Are we live? Right? Gotta do something. I have so many little things to mess with too. Weird. Anyway, I hope we're live. I think we're live. It's hard to tell, but oh, it looks good, I think. There was a thing I wanted to mess with, just for the lulz. Oh, yeah. This is video clips, though. This would be if I actually started on time, where I can do a countdown. So exciting. All right. The reason I'm doing this. Boom. 1792 foolproof. This was donated to me by a magnificent bastard, who I can't officially magnificent bastard. I think he's been bastarded before. Pretty sure he has. I'm looking at things. Hold on. This is the hard part. This is why I do videos that I can edit, because I get distracted really easily. It's donated by Sir Longjuice. He knows who he is. Thank you, Scotch Doctor. Now, I found out today, after doing about 2 seconds of research on this, that it's called 1792 because that's when Kentucky became a state. So I learned something new. You get magnificented officially, I think, if you donate to the Whiskey Vault. And they have a whole thing they do and call you a magnificent bastard, or a patron saint of whiskey, or a titan of whiskey, depending on how many bottles you've given them. I haven't officially been bastarded, but I have a shirt. I have a couple of shirts that say magnificent bastard on them. This one just said Whiskey Tribe. All right, how am I going to open this? Now, the first thing I want to say about this bottle is it's not just foolproof. Like the initial idea was donating. Oh, I bet that sounds awful. Sorry. Donating a bottle of 1792 foolproof for me to sample. And that's what we both thought it was until I picked it up and found out it is also single barrel select. I think. Yeah, it's got the sticker on it. Single barrel select from a place called Cappy's, which is actually, hang on, I got my bearings. Over that way, by like a mile. So I'm excited. I know. This is a 62.5%, 125 proof, probably the highest that I've ever gotten, I think. I mean, I would have done the research, but I just wanted to make sure I actually was here on time. But yeah, 62.5% is probably the highest that I've had ever. Now I'm wondering if mouthwash is how high that is. But I don't drink that. That's something you'd spit out. So I'm curious to see how this will be. Barrel number 5230, apparently. Cool. I've had 1792 before, so that's not going to be anything new. But I've never had it at this kind of extreme. So let's do the cork pop thing because that's the thing. Look at this big ass thing. All right. Oh, that was lovely. Ooh. I can smell the alcohol already. Just from opening it. Normally that doesn't happen with bourbon. That's something that happens with Lefroy. I open the bottle and I get a smell. I'm using my Drink More Bourbon glass, which I got from it's Bourbon Night. I'm trying to think how I'm going to pour this without hurting myself. What did? Meh. There we go. I can smell the alcohol and I can smell that it's very sweet, oddly enough. Put that aside. In my videos, I try to make sure I have a good idea of what I'm doing. I want to look at the color first. Typical bourbon color. But also, there's so many things around me, it's changing the color of it as smooth. It actually looks lighter than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a darker color, but it might not be. It's usually an age thing, I think. At least for bourbons. And this is also straight, before I forget. Which is what? 2 years? Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, yeah. That's important for a reason. Legal reasons. Law reasons. Oh, I like it. That's not good. That's bad. Caramel. I'm getting a smell that I don't really know what it is. I want to say graham cracker all of a sudden. That was fun. I don't know if I've ever gotten that before, but the alcohol is noticeable. And I think I smell that, the usual. I want to say the usual, because with me having had so many bourbons by now, there is a default setting to many of them. It's the vanillas and caramels, and you get that little oak kind of smell. I think sometimes it's been said as pencils kind of deal, or wood shavings or something like that. I mean, I found when you're nosing stuff, it's also how much vocabulary do you have for smells and or random things or weird stories or places. I thought eraser just now. That was fun, but I think that might be the high alcohol. People in the hallway. And I want to say a little medicinal-ish, which I don't usually get from bourbons. That's usually a Freud thing or a Isla thing. But I'm fairly certain it's just because it is a high proof, and I'm getting a lot of, drawback from the high alcohol content. Yeah, definitely. It's not bad, but I can definitely see someone who doesn't drink alcohol like this, spirits in general, and being like, whoa! God, imagine doing a shot of this. No. Thankfully, I don't have super chats or anything like that. But every time someone who's streaming says, like, this would be a horrible thing to do, oftentimes someone super chats and is like, do it! The joys of streaming. I like this, though. Again, this is why I like to edit my videos, because I can sit here and smell this for a very long time just to try to figure out what I'm getting. And honestly, that's not what streams are about in my head. Streams are more enjoying the company of others, is what I like to think. I also have to look at the camera, not the screen. And glasses. Having glasses is a thing. I'm trying to figure out something, and it's bothering me. It's not brown sugar. There's this thing. How do I explain this with words? There's something that's happening when I smell this. It's in between the sweetness and the alcohol, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. All right. That's long enough for me trying to smell it. I'm going to taste this now, and hopefully I'm not going to hurt myself. I probably will. I'm going to do this as soon as I feel it. That's the thing I've decided to do for videos and such, is when I feel the burn, I will let you know. Oh. Yep, there it is. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's really nice. Tingly. It's all over my tongue now. I either just thought grapes or plums, There's like a fruit sweetness, which is cool. It's very sweet though. And honestly, the alcohol is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Thankfully, that was the one thing I was worried about, is I was going to take a sip of this and die because of the alcohol. But I have enjoyed higher proofs for quite a while now. Probably over a year, maybe. So thankfully that didn't kill me, or at least it didn't blow my brains out, which I didn't want to do. Let's see here. I have other stuff set up for more talking points because streaming. But yeah, it's good. As far as notes, I'm going to have a hard time because I feel like keeping this in my mouth is not the best idea. But as with other people in general, the first sip I like to have is just a sip and then to mess with it after that. Incredibly sweet. A little bit of, there's very little barrelness to it. Oh, there it is again. Oh, God. This reminded me of a caramel candy. And now I'm suddenly thinking of stuff that I didn't think I would, but and I know this is something I heard recently. I think on Friday, It's Bourbon Night did a video on Knob Creek. And one of the things I think it was Sarah, yeah, they started talking about marshmallows. And now I have this, not burnt marshmallow, because this is very sweet, oddly enough, for the high proof that it is. But it's making me think of a toasted marshmallow. It's just where it's a little brown on the outside. I dig. I like. Not much barrel note at all, weirdly enough. And also, I haven't had 1792 in probably over a year now. So I don't even remember what that tastes like, other than, a bourbon taste, which is the cop-out that I really hate doing, is being, saying the basics, which is sweet, caramel, a little bit of oak, butterscotch sometimes. There's so many words I have stuck in here for bourbon. It's hard to get the taste. But the scary part is that the high proof is something I'm enjoying for this bottle specifically and this bourbon. It is actually candied. It feels like I'm drinking some kind of candied beverage instead of, alcohol. Things that come across my mind. I thought of an apple, but then I thought of tart. And I still can't pin down what that thing is. I'm thinking of other things I've heard before. Frosting, oddly enough. Yeah, exactly. That's the funny thing about bourbon, I think, is the fact that you know what it is, and then you have so many notes that are the same. I think what I've been told is there is a narrow spectrum on bourbons and scotches and other things. It's very wide. That's starting to change, I feel, because just with many different kind of bourbons I've had, I mean, when you get different varieties of bourbons, there's always something different about it. Nice. I wish it would say that on the bottle. I don't think I even checked. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say that. Yeah. I'll read the back. Bourbon insiders have long acknowledged that full-proof bourbon has a distinctly rich flavor. I would agree. This bourbon has been bottled at its original 125 barrel entry proof, just as it was years ago when the barrels were first filled. Strong and full of flavor, this bold bourbon boasts an incredibly deep and smoky taste, superbly balanced with sweet vanilla and notes of caramel. I wouldn't say smoky, but that might kind of cover that weird... So nothing. That weird thing I can't describe. My flask fell down. My juice box fell down, I mean. Juice box. Stay. Nope. I have a lot of coins over here. No one can see them but me. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The digging is the hard part. I mean, I think one of the things I have a problem with is that when I drink whiskey, I just kind of want to, or at least, stream and have this, thing going on. I just want to do this the entire time. Just think about what I'm smelling and trying to figure that out for the longest time. Right? Well, what I do with my videos, I'm going to do it again, is I use an app, put it on the screen over here. I have 2 screens. And then look at what other people have said, because that always helps me out, is to be like, well, I have an idea of what this might be, but I can't place the word. The problem is we have 7 different options. The problem is when I'm streaming like on Twitch or something, I'm just sipping unconsciously. I'm not thinking about it at all. When I do try to think about it, it is something that can take a lot of time. So we have 1792 Full Proof Limited Edition, 1792 Full Proof Single Barrel Select, and then there are all these store names, because that's what this is. It's a store pick. Let's see. I will go with this one. 1792 Full Proof Single Barrel Select JJ's 4th edition. I don't even know what that is. That's definitely got the sticker on it. And it's got the highest rating on this thing, other than the other one, which is a Fire and Lake exclusive. These are places I don't even know where they are. The proof is right, though, so that's good. So it's got to be similar-ish. Nose profile, cinnamon, pepper, spicy, caramel, and honey. So says this app thing. And believe it or not, that's what you get out of bourbons a lot. I wouldn't say pepper on the taste, but it does kind of make that tingly thing going on my tongue. Yum, yum. Yum, 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 yum. It's so nice. Which I wasn't expecting. I was really expecting to fight it. But it's this wonderful, like I am the type of person who gets caramel lattes a lot. And that's what it's reminding me of. The way it's sticking to my tongue, the kind of, I assume it's because of the proof, the viscosity of it is just staying there. I can still feel it. Kind of like when you have a caramel latte and you drink it, and it's milk instead of the espresso. But it does remind me of that kind of espresso tang, that little bitterness. Only a little. Most of this is sweet, and I like it. I don't know if I like sweet bourbons all the time, but whatever. Flavor. Cinnamon, caramel, honey, and figs. What did I say earlier? I think I said grapes or plums or something weird like that. The bottle cost at the store I got it, I think it was $40. Hold on. I actually still have the receipt somewhere. Yeah, here it is. $44.99. $45. And that's a lot in my head. And I'm still dumbfounded at the fact that someone donated this bottle to me. And I'm glad I have that option now. But it's still a little weird because I did go through a little bit of feeling mildly uncomfortable going into a store and being like, yeah, someone bought a bottle for me to pick up. It's like, oh, okay. I think the problem was it didn't even say my name on it. It didn't say Brian. It said KIllco. So I had to say to the guy who was looking up the info, I was like, well, who is this? Who are you? I'm like, well, it says KIllco on there somewhere, I think. Plum. Yes. That's what I said. I don't even remember. And I haven't had a plum in recent memory. But yeah, there was a weird kind of grapey, something raisiny almost kind of note. And I guess that's what this seems to indicate. Fig. Oh, $90 for a no age statement, huh? Ugh. Finish profile, fig, cinnamon, and pepper. For this bottle on the screen from JJ's 4th edition, whatever the heck that is. I'm going to look at another one. See if I get any other interesting words. Ah! Sometimes they just put the bottle on here and don't leave rating at all. Okay. This one has one. This is from 1792 Foolproof Single Barrel Select. Happy Harry's Bottle Shops exclusive. Where are these places? This one says age 9 years, though. All this one says is straight. Someone said bananas, candied fruits, caramel, and oak. I can dig that. I'm thinking of I've had so few candied or dried. I'm thinking dried fruits. I haven't had many of those in a while either. But I guess that's why that fig note is coming through in my head. Yeah, see, I don't have $90. That's kind of the thing. I didn't have enough to buy all these. Most of these are bought with a credit card, which was a bad idea. Don't do that. Unless you can pay it off, which I'm still doing. Ugh. The joys of being excited about whiskey early on. Many of these bottles I still have because of the cost of them. Yeah, there's only a little bit of tannin to this. There's quite a delay between me actually feeling like I swallowed it and it actually doing anything. Oh, here's a good one. Bitter chocolate, stewed apples, cork, and sandalwood. Those are fun words. I want to agree with the bitter chocolate one, but I don't really get that. Unfortunately, not for this one. Stewed apples is interesting. Cork, I don't know. I'd have to bite the cork, which I don't really want to do. And a finish for this one, what is it called? From Happy Harry's Bottle Shop. Finish profile was leathery, new cowhide, pepper, and oak. Well, I'm definitely not getting that. Whatever. It's good to have all these options. This is the reason I like the app that I've been using, which I'm terrified is just going to disappear at some point. And then I won't have a reference. Right, I just looked at that one too. All right, one thing I want to do before I do anything else with this is use this thing. What does it say? Crowded barrel. My camera has an autofocus, and it only wants to focus on everything behind me. Meh. Anyway, that says crowded barrel on it. And this is a water droplet thing. I'm going to add a little water to this because the proof is so high. I have no idea how much water I should add to anything. That was 5 drops. Yes, sorry. It's an app/website. They don't know I use it for this, but I do. It's called Whizzky.net. So WHIZZKY.net. Not sponsored or anything. I just use it because it's convenient. I think Whiskey Vault / Whiskey Tribe had a group in there ages ago. I think they got rid of groups completely. I'm following a lot of people, but there's no actual group anymore. Anyway, it's an easy way for me to look up bottles at stores and stuff and get kind of general tasting notes and such. It's come in handy. It's also how I can put bottles that I want to try. Like it's got a wish list option, which is cool. I wanted to do a thing since I can. Hold on. Was this it? Yeah. Ah! Oh, wait, there's another thing I can do. Do the thing. I don't know if that's helpful or annoying, but it feels like I'm a newscaster now. Donation day. Ow. That's bizarre. It burned more going down after I added water. And it felt a little more, less sweet, I guess is the nicest, easiest way to put it. I still like it. But now there's a dry finish instead of before where it was just tingly and then sweet. Oh, whiskey's weird. What I'm really curious about is what this will be like over ice. That's honestly one of the main ways I drink bourbon overall, as something to just kind of sip on and putz around the internet. I usually have a big old round ice cube with a high proof bourbon, and it basically becomes a cocktail eventually. It's lovely. The funny thing is, one of the ones I drink a lot, which is right behind me here, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. You'll see I have this giant bottle of Evan Williams, which was donated by my father, thankfully, which I don't like as much as the Bottle and Bond, like even over ice. I like doing this over ice, which still dilutes it, but it doesn't taste like this to me. When I just drink this straight, it's like, it's okay. It's not terrible. I don't know what it is about higher proofs. Still smells a little fruity, which is nice. What it will do, since I think it's okay for me to do this on my own channel, I hope. If not, well, there you go. Yeah, I was afraid of this. I really was. That this was going to be a high proof bourbon that I really like. Because I probably won't be able to buy it again, for one. Because it's a store pick. And it's foolproof. Which I don't even know if the store I go to has foolproof normally. I don't think they do. Either way, it is lovely. And again, thank you to So Long Juice. I think this is his online name. For the donation. Yeah. I'm terrible with names. That's why I have to check. That's Discord. I can't get distracted by that right now. Oh, what I will say before I forget is Whiskey Central? Is that it? I gotta double check. No, that's bizarre. I just go to YouTube and see the first thing is my stream. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's true. It looks like in about an hour and a half, Whiskey Central is going to go live, I think. Make certain. He's fairly new to the YouTube stuff. He's doing just fine. Yeah, Whiskey Central. Part of the reason I'm going on so early at 3 is because she's going on at 5. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm not too worried about that, but a little bit. Oh, this is lovely. Now, since I'm about to hit the half-hour mark, I would like to, normally I do a video on these. Ah. It's nice to have a Scotch doctor in here. Yeah, it's weird. I don't fully understand why it does that. I like it, though. Still. But it's a little fruitier now. And for whatever weird reason, it burns more going down after I've added the water, which I don't understand. Right? I mean, my main concern about doing Whiskey Tube stuff is you're supposed to spout knowledge and wisdom and have some sort of information. And for me, it's just the experience more than anything and what little I can remember, because I have a horrible memory for short-term stuff. If I can put it in my brain and make it long term, it's a little better. But short term stuff, it's like, what did I do yesterday? I don't remember. It was yesterday? Ooh. I do remember I was watching ADHD Whiskey's stream yesterday. I think I watched a couple of streams yesterday. Part of my problem probably is just staring at stuff. What I'll do, I'm going to cap this for now so I can see how it tastes in a little while. Water. Blah, blah. I actually have another donated bottle, but this was by my parents. Yeah. All right, I tried to pull it up on here. And for our second donated bottle, hey, I'm glad you came. I'm going to keep going, even if no one's here, because I have to. This is the next one, so you know if you want to watch it later. I think they stay on. It's an Irish whiskey, 2 gingers. I'm assuming it was 2 sisters, because there's 2 women right here. I'm curious about this one. It's going to be real weird. It has so many weirdnesses to it. Also, this is only 40%. Blended Irish whiskey. Aged for 4 long years, it's still blended. Faithfully distilled in Ireland, of course. From the last independent distillery in Ireland. What bothers me is it just doesn't say who that is. At all. Whatever. Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, it was a donated bottle, and I have another half an hour to kill at least, so. Oh, no cork. Negative points. Only a little, because I just remembered I have been drinking a higher proof. One needs to be careful when one is streaming with alcohol. All right. Obviously Irish. Really pale for an Irish, oddly enough. I'm trying to think. Yeah, usually it's a little more, I want to say yellower. That doesn't sound right, but it's true. Fruity, sweet. I'm definitely getting that biscuits and fruit vibe from it. I like it, though. It's hard for me to not like whiskey, let's be honest. Pancakes. Okay. I'm thinking of pancakes with syrup now. I like. It smells wonderful. Oddly, you know, I was gonna be afraid this would be a very cheap Irish smell. Like, I won't name names. Well, never had it, but I've heard things. I dig. Let's go with the. I'm gonna get a little more water just to be sure. Oh, the taste isn't as good. It's going bitter at the end. That's funky. Now I'm gonna partially remember I just had a very high proof bourbon before this, so I'm guaranteed that screwed things up for this, as it is a 40%, 80 proof, 40%. But it was not sweet at first. It was always a kind of a bizarre metallic taste for some reason. I'm keeping in mind this is a blend, so that means things could go sideways very easily, unfortunately. The smell's still good. I feel like this is one of those they focus more on the smell than the taste, maybe. But yeah, my tongue is kind of dry now after sipping this. And the only way I have any experience with that is when I drink dry white wines and your tongue gets the moisture gets sucked out of it for some reason. Go with taste one more time, see if I can get any more idea of what the heck's happening here. Oh, there's something weird about it. It's a weird metallic tang. Right after the sip, halfway through, it's a metallic-y, I want to say chewed pencil kind of thing. Like the metal part between the eraser and the pencil itself. It's if you were chewing too far in there and you got this weird metallic taste. Oh, that's bizarre. That's a bizarre thought. I haven't chewed on a pencil in a very long time, and if I did, I certainly didn't bite the eraser nor the middle bit. Ooh, that's strange. All right, let's go to this thing. All right, we have stuff. Nose profile for the community thing on the app I use. Grassy, floral, honey, apple, and caramel. I would agree with, I think I got apple or fruit note of some sort. And it is kind of floral. Now that that's been put in my mind. It is definitely a flowery smell, but the taste is what's throwing me for a loop. If anyone's wondering the price, supposedly it's $17.75 or $18, less than $20 for this. So that might explain the flavors I'm getting here. What's this thing say? Oddly enough, it doesn't have the weird note that I'm getting. Mint, honey, apple, butterscotch, grassy, spicy, caramel, toffee, and corn. Corn? I don't know if there's corn in this. I have a feeling there isn't since it's Irish, but... No, it's not as sweet, and there's still this weird metallic thing. Could say grassy. I don't get any mint. It's definitely not spicy, but again, keep in mind I decided to do this the wrong way around. I probably should have started with the 2 gingers and then gone to the higher proof one. So this thing is probably getting a skewed review at the moment. And the finish on this, oh, okay, good. Medicinal pencil eraser. Hey, new wood, spicy oak, and old wood. Okay. Those are the words I like it because I was getting what I've been calling metallic, but it could be medicinal. And the pencil eraser thing was something I was just talking about. So good. At least that's in there. The official overview. Smooth, malty, and slightly sweet to start with a tinge of honey and citrus. 2 gingers is a blended whiskey distilled twice and aged for 4 years in the mild climate at the Cooley Distillery. So there we go. We know where it's from now. Cooley. Wherever that is. I'm going to guess Ireland. Just a guess. Oh, the smell is very nice. That's the weird part about it, is I'm perfectly fine with smelling it, but the taste of it is weirding me out. And I should point out on the bottle, the one thing that gave me pause is when a whiskey bottle says right on it, hey, this is how you can make a great mixer out of this. Right here, you can't see it because the words are probably going to not focus. But it's to mix, it's right here. To mix, I'll just read it. To mix a big ginger, fill a Collins glass with ice. Pour 2 ounces 2 gingers whiskey, top up with ginger ale, wedge with both lemon and lime. So when there is a mixing thing on the bottle, I'm a little hesitant. There's so much more they could have put on the bottle that would have been interesting and educational to me, and instead they're like, hey, make this into a cocktail because it might not be that great. It's not terrible, and as I said, the smell is actually kind of nice, but for whatever reason, and again, could be just because the high proof I had, the taste of it is a little bizarre. Oh, I guess it's because I've had it out for a minute here, but the medicinal taste is kind of not there now, or at least not as bad as it was before, basically, but still weird. Still reminding me of Irish, but it's doing a bunch of stuff I'm not used to when it comes to an Irish whiskey. I still like the smell, though. What did it say before? Floral? Yeah. Grassy, floral, honey, apple, and caramel is what the official notes are on the website here. I kind of get that, but again, it is a Irish whiskey that says on the bottle to make it into a cocktail, so yeah. Let's just say I'm skeptical about any bottle that does that. Is it great? No. Is it terrible? No. There are much worse Irish whiskeys out there. Although I probably will consider making a video where I use it to make the cocktail, and it'll probably be pretty good if I think about it. I like ginger ale, so hey, here you go. Let's see. Do I have any other donated things? Oh yeah, I do have that, but I don't want to do that. That's something for a whole different video, I think, because I have a box down here, Cedar Ridge. I think it's 4 or 5 different bottles. Save it for later. I just had a terrible idea of mixing these two together, but I'm not going to do that. It does not sound fun to me. What else? What else? You know what I can do? We'll do the swap. That is now covered, and I'm going to go back to, as I showed earlier, full proof 1792, single barrel select, stupidly high proof, and I did add water to it, so it's probably a little less than before. Oh, wow. I just thought chestnuts. I don't know why. That was fun. Pumpkin pie? Or am I just thinking of pie? Wow. The stuff you can get out of bourbons is incredible sometimes. This one's just been sitting with the cap on it, but as soon as I took it off and took a smell, I got a little overwhelmed. And I like. Oh, gosh. There's definitely like a pumpkin pie thing in here now. It's bizarre. Wait. Did I drink water? Shit. Oh, no. Mouth noises, yay. Oh, yeah. Oh. It's so good. It's rich. And the texture of it's wonderful. It's almost like, it's not syrupy. It's a little less than that, but what do I call it? What do I compare this to? I compared it to a caramel latte earlier as far as the way it clings to my tongue. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want to say because I know it kind of bothers me when I have a latte and you have that kind of milk film after you drink it. Not good. This is not that. This is lovely. And what's terrible is I know this bottle is not going to last long. Now that I've opened it and tried it, I give it maybe until December. Maybe. Depends. But it smells good. Ooh. I did something there. got real spiky all of a sudden, like the pepper notes. And now it's drying out my tongue. Man, whiskey is weird. The fun thing about whiskey for me, we'll talk about that for a minute, is the experience. And still tingly and peppery. What has been most fun in my past experience is when you can go and have whiskey with friends and go out to bars and even just chat with the bartender about whiskey, because sometimes they will give you free whiskey. Rarely, but sometimes. And it's that interaction and that kind of dialogue, the sharing of experience, I think, is the main thing that has been so enjoyable for me with my whiskey journey. And that's kind of why I make the content on here, is I am trying to not only share with myself what I got out of a whiskey the first time I tried it, but also to share with anyone else who might be curious. Like, I might have to change the title of this, actually. See if I can do that while I'm here. Yeah. Let's see, 1792. Yep. 1792 full proof. What's the word I'm looking for? Single barrel. That's loud, sorry. And 2 gingers. There, that's a little more descriptive. How do I make it go? There we go. Save. Oh, fine. An error occurred. Of course it occurred. The joys of the internet. No, it doesn't want to do it. Probably because I'm streaming. It doesn't like it. I'll change it after. But those are the 2 reviews that I've done so far for this stream. I don't know how people do streams where they have, 4 or 5 different bottles. I do have ideas for samples I have, which I'll feature here. Oh. I think I've mentioned these before. I'm just afraid to actually try some of these because, one, they're more donations, so it's an excuse to do sample donations, but they're so obscure. This one in particular makes me nervous. 1983 Milton Duff Speyside Single Malt, 31 years old. I doubt this will focus, but I swear that's what it says. There we go. 92 proof. Now, I'm 40. So knowing that there's something that's 31 years old in here is always a little bit jarring, we'll say. And then we have this one, which wasn't as fancy label, but I don't know if I've had Willet before, and I know I like Rise. Let's see if you're going to focus. Probably not. Yeah, Willet 4-year, 109 proof. And then we have a bunch of Texas whiskeys that I haven't had before. So we have Balcones Iron Root. I've had Iron Root before, but these are like specialty Iron Roots. Now here's another random one. This is another one that makes me slightly nervous. Do it. Do it. Stop looking at me. Stop behind me, you bastard. You ever notice how cameras don't work when you want them to work? There we go. Speyside Single Malt. Linkwood. 27 years old. 27. And I'll just read these. Iron Root Republic Icarus, straight corn whiskey, 35 months old, 105 proof. Iron Root Republic Ichor, 5th anniversary, 5-year-old, 123 proof. I got 2 more. Balcones Juntos Single Malt Tequila finish, which sounds interesting, and Balcones French Oak Single Malt, 2019 release, 123.8 proof. Oof. It's almost as high as the bourbon I just had. So I have this little box full of delights. But I don't know if I want to do single reviews of it or just do like a sample stream. There's confusion about what I should do with them so far. Part of me wants to do a video for each one, but I also know how obscure they are. So I think I'm probably going to do a video for each one. Maybe after this, it'll be something to do, and I'll be able to drink these finally. I've actually had these for about a year now that I think about it. They were donated by another magnificent bastard for the tiny samples. I also have a bunch of, I want to call them donations, but they're basically little nips that my mother bought. And they are all very interesting. Most of them are not whiskey, but they are interesting. So I might do that as a stream because I don't really want to drink those, honestly. They're like flavored stuff. One of them was a Irish liqueur, a cream liqueur, like Bailey's. Good times. But as far as 1792, foolproof barrel select, blah, 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 that seems to be a winner for me, and I'm extremely happy that it was donated because, as I said earlier, it was $45, and I don't have $45 to spend. But there's a magnificent bastard out there who was kind enough to buy it at a local store for me, and all I had to do was go and get it. And it is glorious. I want it again. It's not even gone, and I want it again. And he told me it was going to be good. And lots of people told me it was going to be good, which is what I was worried about. Oh. I have a feeling I'm kind of into high-proof sweet bourbons. But I also like, I think, as I was saying, I like the experience of whiskey, and what I've found over the time that I've been doing these is whiskey itself always gives a different kind of experience because it all depends on you. That's the weirdest part. It's like your personal preference, your personal taste, oftentimes where you are, how it's served, what glass it's in. There are so many factors in how you can enjoy a beverage. And it's so crazy how many different types there are. Specifically, I'm thinking of Islay scotches. A friend of mine, and this has been done too many times to people, and it's both funny and terrible, where they're given a shot of a whiskey, and they're not told it's an Islay scotch, and they've already had a lot to drink. That is not how you should introduce someone to Islay scotches. It may be very funny, but it's always going to send them the wrong way. You don't want to do that to someone if you're actually interested in giving it a chance and hoping to bring them into the fold. Like, that's something you might want to introduce at some point in a different way, but I can certainly understand the gag aspect, but that can really put someone off immediately. And that's kind of the funny thing about doing this, is that having my friend tell me that story while I'm getting interested into whiskey and getting interested into Islays and scotches and Irish and bourbons. I think he'd like bourbons more than anything. I know I gave him some Wild Turkey 101 a while back, a little over a year ago, and he seemed okay with that. Granted, it was out of flask and at a rather difficult time, but it was appropriate in my mind. Oh gosh, the burn. Welcome, David. I don't know if I've had the bottled in bond 1792. I know I've had the regular, just 1792, but I haven't seen a bottle in bond anywhere. I can actually do a quick search, I think. Oh, computers and stuff. Yeah, here we go. I've learned to leave the store I go to often enough, and the place I got this bottle from, leave it open if I ever get a question or want to look something up. 1792 is all I put in here, so I'll see their selection, hopefully. 3 bottles. Why do they have that one twice? Oh, duh. I saw 3 different 1792s and was like, wait a minute. It says the same thing for two of them. That's because it's a size. They have 750 milliliters and then 1.75 liters. That's why. It's also why it costs more. But yeah, the weird part is, and this is probably what got me this bottle. Not that you can see it, but it's here. Cap. When you look at the website for this bottle, it just says 1792 full proof. There's no sticker on it. But when we bought it, it's 1792 full proof single barrel select, which is a very different thing. I can rate this. I might do that. But yeah, the store I go to seems to only have the two options. 1792 bourbon small batch, as it says, and then 1792 full proof, which technically isn't quite what it is. It is, but it isn't. It is full proof, but it fails to mention that it's a single barrel select from the store, which is weird because I think they could charge more just because of that. I mean, it's already $45 for this bottle, which is my price range for whiskey is like this. It's from $15 to about $25, $30, maybe $40. But once we get into 40, we're talking, I want to get a handle for that. And I know at the store I'm thinking of, it's $40 for a handle of Wild Turkey 101. That's where I stop. So if I can get a handle of that for $40, but this is 45. Oh, but it is worth it. But it is also a smaller bottle. I mean, this clearly isn't a handle. But they do have nice bottles. The only catch, though, is it looks nice, but it's also this. It's nice and wide, but it's also very thin. So it gives the illusion that you have a lot of whiskey. And it also makes it a little weird to pour. You have to pour like this because you pour like that on the side. It kind of starts to glug, and you don't want to do that. And this is 750, right? I know it is, but yeah, it is. I'm curious what the bigger handle looks like. I imagine it's just round. But I hope that answers your question, Mr. David Parks. David Parks. Yeah, real name on YouTube. That's dangerous. I don't even like doing that. I still feel weird that I have to put my name as Brian. There's so many damn Brians in the world. I gotta stop doing that. We'll do the swap again. Mostly because normally streams are an hour, and I'm getting there. I'm at about 58 minutes, but I know Whiskey Central doesn't go on until 5. That's a full other hour, so I'm mulling about in my head if I want to keep streaming or not. But, geez. Definitely medicinal. A little spiky. Two Gingers is, sadly enough, not great. It could be. But unfortunately, with Irish blends, they can go one way or the other. I know even for one of the ones I do, like Roe & Co., I sometimes get that metallic tang, which I have been told is a grain thing. Some people get that out of grain alcohol. And again, a blend, so it could very well have grain alcohol in it. I don't know. I wish I did. I wish it would say on the goddamn bottle. I think that's one of the biggest pet peeves for whiskey tubers and whiskey people is you want to know more. Like a good example, I think. Before I actually show this, I want to make sure it says something. Where is it? No, it doesn't. It does say how long it was aged. It does give me a date. But what I really wish more of them would do would give a mash blend or at least tell you exactly what grains they use, that kind of thing. Whiskey people want to know, but they don't bother to tell you for some reason, unless you look it up. Like even this one doesn't tell me. It gives me a clue by saying it's straight. That's about it. Oh, it's so good, though. Bardstown, Kentucky. I've heard about that. Bardstown is a place, but I've also heard it's a rather interesting whiskey. You know what? I feel like I gave this a bad a bad rap by having it be in a stream, because it's an Irish versus a high proof bourbon. And yeah, just in general, it's going to get slammed. And it's thin too, whereas a high proof bourbon is very rich. Still sweeter than it was before, though, which is good. I dig it. Not terrible. I think that does it for donation day. I think. I could do other things. I was thinking of doing other things, but I'm undecided. Because I have to get up and go get them. And they're in the fridge. In the freezer, actually. Which is where they belong. But I have some flavored stuff. Which I don't want to drink. But I have. And I have to get rid of them somehow. No. Okay, for the next hour, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this. I'll do a Daniel Whittington slash, what's his face? He has a mustache, too. Oh, I can't remember his name now. Damn it. I have to look. That's not Lagavulin. You know who he is. I don't want to get the wrong name. Nick Offerman. He did something like that. He's done that a couple times. Where he just sits and stares at the screen while sipping whiskey. It's quality content, I'm sure. So for anyone just joining, I've been reviewing two different whiskeys. Very different whiskeys. We have the 1792 Full Proof Single Barrel Select. It is amazing. If you like bourbon, this will be glorious, I hope. Granted, single barrel from a specific store. But the full proof, I've heard so many good things, and it tastes amazing. And then this one, Two Gingers, which I'd never heard of until someone gave me the bottle, and which has a mix on the side of it saying, this is great for mixing. Oh, not encouraging. Please tipple Two Gingers responsibly. Well, I shall. It's only 40%, and it is a blend. It's okay, but it's got weird notes I don't really like. And again, I have to say, I feel bad that I've set it up next to this high proof bourbon, which I seem to like a lot. This is the Irish. I'm not getting as many weird notes off this one, thankfully. But at the start, it was medicinal and metallic, and as I said earlier, it's got this weird grain. I guess that's a grain thing, like grain alcohol. If you get that metallic tang. Yeah, it's not bad, but there's a reason that's a mixer on the side, I would say. Unfortunate, but that's the marketing. That's the marketing department. Someone made this whiskey and blended it together, and then the marketing was like, you know what? This will be great as a mixer, especially with ginger ale, which I feel will pretty much kill the taste of any Irish whiskey simply because ginger ale is pretty potent. Let's go back to this one. So this is what ADH Whiskey does, and this is what I wish I could do, because watching his stream last night was everything I dream of, is where I can just sit and sip whiskey and chat, and people throw money at you, apparently. That was mind-boggling to me. Now, that can't be done on my channel, clearly, because super chats are not a thing. Little-known facts about YouTube creators: you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And 2, you have to have a certain amount of viewed hours for your videos, which is another thing that's just like, well, I guess it makes sense if you have 1,000 subscribers, people are going to watch your stuff. And I think it was 400 hours or something like that. Bonkers. But I understand how more subscribers and more viewers will get those, times filled up, hopefully. But good God. I mean, YouTube can afford to pay someone if they have more than 100 subscribers in my head. And I definitely got a few last night from ADHD Whiskey Stream. So if that's you, thank you and cheers. I only wish I had his nose and his ability to like pinpoint stuff. But for me, it's like, this tastes like bourbon. This tastes like Irish. I think this is a Scotch. It's glorious. Mmm. Oh, that's good. Suddenly I'm thinking of cinnamon. What are they called? Cinnamon bun with frosting on it. Oh, this is so sweet and so good. I wish I could share it. Have some. It's delicious. No. If only. I know a lot of whiskey tubers do samples and stuff, but as you can tell from that up there, that means I don't have the $20 a month to actually pay for StreamYard. So shipping and handling and sending whiskey, that's not a thing yet. But it might be someday. I don't know. I know I'm happy to get samples. It's glorious. It's wonderful. Sharing whiskey is part of it. As many other whiskey tubers have said, it is the experience and the sharing of the whiskey that makes this so interesting and so enjoyable. Like, I'm still kicking myself for not going to Bastard the Ball last year, because the thought was last year, I'll go next year. And 2020 decided to be what it was, and it ended up being online. So still enjoyable, but I think the getting together is part of the joy of the whiskey experience. Sharing the whiskey together, smelling it, tasting it, talking about it. That's what makes it so interesting. And I have to admit, part of it is the history behind how it came about. Like, think for a minute that you're a farmer and you have too much grain, and if you don't use it all, it's going to go bad. And somehow, because at some point in the distant past, there was some, I think it was, I want to say it was in Ireland, but it probably wasn't. It was probably in India, if I remember, and I don't. I have a bad memory. The history of distillation itself goes back a very long way. It's wine, beer, liquor. Those are all things where someone was like, I'm going to take this, I'm going to ferment it. One, how the hell did we come up with fermenting? Whose idea was that? It was like, let it rot. It'll be good, I promise. The whole process is just mind-boggling. We have to take grain, add yeast, put it in hot water, let it ferment, and the yeast eats the sugar, and then it becomes alcohol. I mean, but I get, my mind gets twisted up just by that fact. Like, this whole process to make this stuff in general is so scientific and time consuming. Glorious. Keep in mind, liquor is also a poison, so that's fun. That's a fun little dive into human history. However, oh, it's lovely. Wait. Oh, right there. Burns. Still. And I had watered this, by the way, earlier. It's bitey, we'll say. But compared to the two gingers, good grief. Lovely stuff, whiskey. Don't drink too much of it, though. The fact that I'm already feeling just from these two glasses the way I am. Oh, dangerous. Dangers of live streaming while drinking alcohol, I have to say. But what I was getting at, I had a point, I know I did, was the history of whiskey is part of what's interesting to me. How it came to be, why it's even a thing, how popular it is in different regions of the world, Japan, Ireland, Scotland, and how it's spreading. Like the fact that it used to be, the old man's drink. just sip his whiskey and be old. That used to be a thing. I'm sure it still is. I have to keep in mind I'm 40 now. I don't feel like it, but I am. So I'm in that age range-ish. But good grief. I think of the way I used to drink liquor, And it would burn so bad. And the funny thing is you do that. That's because you saw how it was on TV. You go to a bar, you have shots, and that's, shots. That's a thing. It's a thing in our culture. When everything about doing that says it's not the way to do it. Like if you take a shot, you just swallow it, it all evaporates in your throat, burns like hell, is extremely unpleasant, but it gets you drunk faster, which is the reason they do it. And in my mind, what's funny is that back then, at that age, my brain never said, this is probably not the best way to drink this. Oh, gosh. Scotch Doctor, that sounds both wonderful and also incredibly unpleasant because, God. And I've had that happen. Like my camera likes to do things. It's got an autofocus on it. So there's been more than once when I'm recording a video and it just kind of goes and gets a little bonkers. What's bad is when it stutters. Like, so it would be me reviewing and being like, oh, this, that, and the other thing. And that just goes and stops for like 3 seconds. Ugh. Yeah. That's the other good thing about whiskey drinking and whiskey reviewing is you review it, and then comes the editing. And by then, you've already had a whiskey, so you're into it. Like, oh, this wasn't so hard. My head's pretty basic, I'll admit. I've never gotten any official training as a video editor other than I know how to do audio editing to a little bit, which is just cut and paste and keep your ears open for weird noises and keep your eyes open, I guess, for videos. Anything goes bonkers sideways, as you were mentioning. Something can just go and messes up the whole video. But that's the extent of my, learnedness with video editing, as I was an audio editor, still am. And it's very similar, just tweaking things ever so slightly. But with my videos, at least, I try to make them amusing, because the one thing I feel weird about with doing a stream about whiskey drinking in general is that it's a lot of this and just talking to the camera and me sipping. Now, it works for ADHD whiskey, but as a new channel, or not a new channel, I've been around for some years now, but I only officially started to do anything with this channel a year ago. So far, so good. I definitely have more subscribers than I actually ever thought I would, which is, I think, close to 150 now. I think it was 149 when I looked earlier, I think. But the hard part is getting the subscribers and the likes and the blah, 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 all that. And social media. That's a thing. At my age now, I find it amusing that I was worried about people seeing me and, finding me online and watching stuff I was doing. I had a paranoia back in the day. I still do. Yes, there is that moment. And welcome, Bourbon for Brits. There is that moment where you're like, oh, there's something to this. I'm trying to remember when that first happened for me, because if I think back to my early videos when I was just doing whiskey reviews for the sake of reviewing it for myself, and it was the Advent calendar, a December Advent calendar, I think 2 to 3 years ago, maybe 4. Ugh. Where a lot of the time I was just getting alcohol and burn, and I still do. I've said in many of my videos, I have mental problems and it makes things difficult. Like sensory stuff is weird. I'm very aware that I don't quite feel the way people do, and I know the way I feel isn't always correct. because there's a lot of negativity in my head, and it's not good. So I'm specifically cautious with stuff like this, which is as you know, as many people should know, it's a depressant. But it tastes glorious. It makes me feel better, and it's interesting. Whereas in my younger days, the only reason I drank beer or wine, or I think it was it. I just drank a lot of beer back in the day. It was just to get drunk, which was dumb. It was really dumb because you have to drink a lot of beer to get drunk, or at least get inebriated to some extent. With whiskey, it's a little easier. But I always find it difficult to pull out what I'm experiencing, which is part of why I like to do it. It makes me focus. And focusing is not something I'm great at, if you can't tell. I've gone in like 5 different directions in the past 10 minutes. But when I have my nose in a glass, helicopter, and I'm thinking about it, it's a whole different thing, which is what I like about it. It's what I like about other people who do this, is that they are engaged in this. And it's something more than just alcohol. Oftentimes, though, people do weird things on their streams. One of the good things I want to think of right now, though, is it Ed? Ed from Rock Gut Review. He made me realize how my brain is so askew sometimes with one of his streams. I think it was on Friday. Again, I don't remember things very well. But he was happy about how this past year has gone because of the fact that we've been very secluded and we've all had to kind of connect in different ways, which is what I'm doing now in some extent, is by connecting through other streamers and streaming myself and making content. And that this past year has been good because it's kind of helped all of us in some way get better acquainted and communicate. But it's still a crazy year. But he was very grateful for that. And the hardest thing for me to do is be grateful about anything, just because of this thing in my head here. I know something's gone wrong. This is some kind of weird world we've walked into by accident. Yeah, I think that's the important part, Scotch Doctor, is that I am trying to move forward and experience things in a good way with this kind of what used to be a very negative thing for me. And what is still something I have to be careful of, because family history, alcohol has an effect. In my family history, there have been problems with alcohol, we'll say. I don't think anyone was actually an alcoholic, but all I can say is my grandfather died very early, both of them. And unfortunately, my uncle died very early. And I don't know if that had anything to do with alcohol or what, but I think he smoked cigarettes like crazy too. But there was the male side of my family has not had a good run with abuse of alcohol and other kind of products. So I already know I have plenty of problems as it is. Like, I've been diagnosed with a number of different mental problems, and it makes being out in public difficult, more so now, because the way I like to explain it, if we're going to talk mental health at all, is the way everyone feels in the world right now with the pandemic going on, where the idea of leaving your place of residence and going out to the world just to get groceries, and you feel that tension, that uncertainty, that uncomfortable sensation, and you're just kind of afraid because you don't want to get sick. That's how I felt all the time. Like way up until now. That's the sensation I got when I went out in public. Not because of getting sick, but just because being out in large groups and noise and just, it's uncomfortable. In my apartment where it's just me and my computer and the screen and camera, not so much of a problem. It's something I've gotten used to, thankfully. And oddly enough, I've done theater over the years, so I've been on stage and have no real issue with it. But for whatever reason, crowded places have always just wigged me out. I've never gotten used to it. Some good examples are going to see a theater performance. There's a lot of people there. Going to a baseball game, like a real baseball game in the city. Being in a city. All these situations that people have they don't think about it too much. Like, I know going to a city for some people, you're going to the city. It's a whole different thing. People everywhere. Whereas in my own apartment, if I go outside, I might see 2 or 3 people, maybe, like walking their dog or just jogging. It's a whole different thing. But crowds have always made me uncomfortable. And 2020 has not helped with that, of course, with a pandemic, which guess what? I didn't expect that one to happen. It's another thing about streaming is I get into topics that aren't whiskey related, and I don't know if people want to hear about them. Like, in my head, there's news information that's coming into our heads constantly, and it's all negative and just it has a weight to it. And talking about it, for me, is something that kind of gets that weight off. It's like, oh gosh, I've heard about that. Yeah, oh gosh, that was terrible. Jason Busey. Oh God, the legend is here. Look out. Yeah, I agree. I have never been comfortable with cities and crowds because in my head, it's just a constant danger. That's the feeling I get in crowded areas. And I know why. I have a number of reasons why that I've thought about over the years where I feel in danger. And I can go back. I've said this before to therapists and stuff, is the earliest memory I have of being afraid, just in general, like in a big crowd, in a place, was in high school after Columbine happened. Because the unfortunate fact is, I looked like those kids that had the Columbine. The guys who did that, the horrible people, the long hair and the trench coat, I had the long hair and the trench coat. So that happened, and the very next day I was going to school, and everyone was looking at me in a very uncomfortable way, and I did not like it at all. It was a mind trip. I mean, you can understand the kids in high school being afraid because that happened, but then they look at you, who they've known for years. I think it was in my senior year that happened. They look at you a completely different way because of something someone else did. Not because of you, because of someone else who just went off the rails. And that's when I remember being very uncomfortable in crowds. I probably was never great with high school to begin with. I know I wasn't. It's probably why I had the long trench coat and the long hair. But that put a whole new spin on it for me, where it was like, wow, people can turn on you in a second. How lovely. And of course, I never did anything. I'd never even, that kind of thought was foreign to most of us up until that happened, unfortunately. It's a sad reality. It's become all too common over the years. It's upsetting. Have a drink. All right. One of the things about my channel that I like to have is open dialogue about not necessarily horrible things, because the idea of this is entertainment. I know that. I don't know how entertaining I can be, but jazz hands. My thought process is very bouncy, and I realize that. But the dialogue is what I like. The thing that gets me through is other streamers specifically, because of the people you meet. Like Jason Busey's here, and I'm like, oh gosh, I know him. That wouldn't have happened a year ago, 2 years ago, year and a half even. So it's a whole different kind of thing when you have familiar faces that are, digital. And it's kind of the only way we can do things right now. Like, admittedly, I can barely go out with family to like restaurants. We do that occasionally, but it feels weird. It feels very strange and very uncomfortable to have to go out. And most importantly, one of the things I was getting used to last year was going to different liquor stores, trying to find better prices, trying to just find bottles in general. Maybe someone I know would want it, and I could drive it to them. That was an idea. It wouldn't be liquor delivery. I wouldn't call it that. It would be giving a bottle to a friend, with the friend having already transferred the money to me and possibly giving me a tip or gas money. That was the general idea. Because as many of us know, there are way too many liquor laws in the states that are wonky as hell. I don't know why they're like that. Well, I do know, actually. It's the concept of prohibition never actually having gone away. It just shifted from state to state. which has been one of the weirdest things about U.S. history and liquor history in general, from my point of view. But yeah, I feel bad that people cannot get bottles. Like if I wanted, an example, if I wanted rare breed, I would have to try and find it online, which is a task in itself because liquor stores don't tend to say exactly what they have and their stock isn't always correct. And at best, I might be able to find one at Total Wine, maybe. And that's still an hour's drive for me in a different state, which has become a whole different thing this year. You know, before last year, I made a video about how I went to Total Wine for the first time. And it was to get Iron Root. Iron Root, crap, what the name is it? What's the name of it? Harbinger. Little. And I got it, and it's all gone. I drank it all. It was lovely. But I did a video of that. I went there with no problem. I got back with no problem. I even had lunch at a place that was nearby. It was a whole experience. It was a lovely time. It was fun. The fun part was, of course, when I went to the Total Wine and asked for a Texas bourbon, and they're like, oh, they had no idea. I had to find it myself, and I did, and it was hilarious. And I got the bottle, but I can't do that now, really. I mean, I could. Let's be clear. No, I've been to Texas. I'm in Rhode Island, which is a little bit of nowhere. Oh, thank you, American Scotch Doctor. I didn't see that. I didn't see things scroll. But yes, that's one of the problems I've had over the years is this uncomfortable thing where I project on what other people are thinking, and it's always negative. Like I have problems thinking negative things about myself, and I always project it on other people. And the realization is that other people are not thinking about what you're doing. They see you, they're like, oh, there's a guy, and that's it. That's about all. But no, Jason Busey, I am not in Texas. I am in Rhode Island. I'm a New Englander. I'm a damn Yankee, as they might say. But I've been to Texas last year. Last year, I went to Texas in November. It was after the Bastards Ball. So they had the Bastards Ball. I couldn't afford to go at the time. And then the next month, the beginning of November, I went there to pick up my bottles. I had two crowded barrel bottles. Oof. And there's a video of it, which I think I can post. Hold on. I don't want to make you go looking for it. I know it's here, but I have to find it. 149 subscribers still. Damn it. I'm wondering when the point is that YouTube will start showing my videos more often. Is it 150? Is it 200? Who knows? Yeah. Search, brain. There we go. A Texas Whiskey Trail Adventure is what I called it. It's me talking a lot, honestly. Here we go. Wait, here we go. But no, I am not in Texas. I hope I don't have a Texas accent. I don't think I do. I don't think I have any accent other than I probably say like too much. That's an American thing, as far as I understand it. But that's the video I made when I went to Texas and had a lovely time. I went to 7 different distilleries down there. And in 2 days, I went to 7 different Texas distilleries in 2 days. I did not drive. My mother drove me, thankfully. That was exhausting, but glorious. And I definitely got to go into the vault before it was the vault. So it was the transition from the old vault to the new vault. They hadn't actually started filming in the new vault. And I got to see it for the first time, get my picture taken and all that nonsense. Yeah, American Scotch Doctor, that's the thing. I mean, the fact that you can order online is great. I can't. Not in Rhode Island, I don't think. I don't think we can have liquor delivered directly to my door. It's not allowed. I remember when I was going through a phase of trying to get an interest in certain liquors. I think I went from beer to wine to sake of all things, and then finally ended on whiskey at just the right time. Like the Whiskey Vault started making videos, and my father had done the audiobook for Whiskey Women, which should be down there somewhere, by Fred Minnick. He'd done the audiobook for that. And we got interested. We were like, what's this? What's this alcohol he's talking about? He's talking about Lefroy in one of his chapters. Scholastic commercial, huh? Rhode Island's a real place, I promise. It exists. It's just tiny. I can drive an hour. I can drive, well, personally, I can go, let's see. I got my bearings again. If I go in that direction, within 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I would be in Massachusetts because I'm right on the line. Oklahoma. Oh, that's good. Good to hear, American Scotch Doctor. Things are changing, you know. State laws, man. It's bizarre. The donated bottle, for example, which I'll show off again because it's really nice. Anyway. That I couldn't get shipped to me, but the arrangement was that he ordered the bottle from the store that's nearby and just said, you know, KIllco, this channel. And I was able to pick it up. I'm not even sure what state he's in. I forget. He might have told me. But yeah, you can, the bonus is I figured out a way to get donations. Is you can order a bottle at this store specifically, whatever the heck they have available. You can order and say for KIllco, and I will get it the very next day or the same day, depending. And then I have stuff to review, which is glorious. And I know that's something the Whiskey Vault was doing, is people would buy their bottles at a nearby store because, again, shipping laws in America for alcohol are weird. Because the weirdest twist about Prohibition ending is that it didn't. Not really. It's one of those things where you just look at it and you go, why? Why? As a consumer, you look at it and go, why? And we all know why. It's because taxes. The 3-tier system. The government can make more money off alcohol if the system is 3 tiers from taxes. And it sucks. But one would hope, with the way things are progressing in general, that might change in the future, maybe? Because I know for one thing, last year, I could not order from a restaurant and say, yeah, I want a beer with that, and pick it up for takeout. Was not allowed. You couldn't get a beer for takeout at a restaurant. This year, however, when things have gone bonkers, they just changed that real quick. They're like, sure, restaurants can give you a beer or wine if you want to buy it from them, and you can take it home. That was not a thing before because they wanted you to drink it and eat it there. Well, not eat it, but they wanted you to drink alcohol on the premises, and now you can just get a beer or a wine bottle at a restaurant, which you could not do before at all. Would not be allowed. But now it is because of the way things changed very suddenly. And I'd like to think simply that the trend, unfortunately, is the home delivery. Is that's like the newest thing that's going to stick to people. Is once you give people something like that, they're not going to want to give it back. You know, people like me who don't always like to eat at restaurants. I mean, if I'm eating at a bar, that's what I like. We cannot do that right now. I did have dinner recently someplace, and that was nice, but it was, you know, weird. It's always weird to go eat at a restaurant by yourself. It was a lovely meal, though. I think I Instagrammed it. But yeah, I like to sit at the bar and talk to a bartender instead, but that's not happening right now at all. So blah. In fact, one of the things I like doing was, I think it was Oban 14, I believe, is a bottle I can't afford. I think. I remember it's like Oban 14 and Lagavulin 16. Those are two bottles I enjoy, but they're too expensive for me to have. But if I go to a bar, I can get a pour. It's like, $8, $10, whatever it is. Possibly 12, I don't remember. But at least I can have it. And that's what I was doing last year. I was going to the restaurant I like that had a semi-decent bar, and they had Oban 14 behind there. And I was just like, hey, give me an Oban 14 with my meal. Yay. Lovely. Delicious, even. But I can't do that. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I want to say I haven't done that this year, but I honestly can't remember. January and February and March are kind of blurred. Those are bad times, bad days. Was not fun. To answer anyone's question, why, if there is one, my cat passed away in December. I had to euthanize him. It was one of the worst things I've ever had to do. Still hurts because I had him for 15 years. He was 18 years old, but it was kidney disease. He was not going to get better from that, and he lasted about a year after his diagnosis. And he had been diabetic too, which I could handle that, but the kidney disease thing was just brutal. Within a year, it was gone, and I felt so terrible. I still feel terrible. So that's how 2020 started. Loss of pet. Awful. So the first 3 to 4 months of that were awful. And as soon as I started to feel better, a little bit, pandemic. Ugh. 2020 has not been my year, we'll say. Nice, Jason. That's one of the things I like about, was it yesterday or the day before? There's a place downtown in Newport, and it's called Buskers. And it's one of the only places that has a very large whiskey selection. I'm talking Scotch, Irish, Japanese, bourbon, lots. But it's about 30 minutes-ish from where I am, which isn't that far, honestly. I mean, again, Rhode Island, 1 hour in any direction, you're in a different state. But, as we were saying, it's not exactly the time to go out and have fun at restaurants these days. I was there recently just because I was with family and we were celebrating something. And I had West Cork, one of these. But it was the 10-year, which is okay. I've had better. One thing I want to do it's on my checklist kind of, is try to find other higher proof Irish whiskeys, because while the West Cork's okay, I found I really enjoy Powers, as you can tell. And this is 46. Where is it? No, it's not even 46. It's 43. 43.2. So it's only a little higher. But for whatever reason, it seems to taste a lot better as an Irish, because most Irish whiskeys are 40%, and that's it for that. I'm trying to remember which one was 40-something. I'm blanking out. That's 40. The joys of having too many bottles, right? No, I don't know. I don't have that many Irish whiskeys. So I'm blanked out. Well, I thought it was Powers. That was a higher proof, but it isn't. Anyway, the point is, I'm trying to find more Irish higher proofs, because I know I really enjoy Redbreast 12 cask strength, but that is about $70-ish for one bottle. I don't have that, so ugh. Oh, and the place I go to in Newport is they have these. They have Glencairns. Very important. I don't think they served it in a Glencairn when I was there before, but I didn't ask for one, so that was my bad. Again, this is really good. Oh gosh, there it is. Bernie, still Bernie. But again, as I said before, 1792. Straight Straight bourbon, 62.5% alcohol, 125 proof, and a single barrel select from the store that is near me. It's glorious. It's sweet. It's very sweet. It's not too sweet, but it is kind of creme brulee-ish, if I think about it for a minute. Creme brulee-ish. Kind of creamy, sticks to your mouth, sweet, caramelish. I really like creme brulee, so that's why I'm comparing it to this. Is it's reminding me of that. Something I like, but it's only, once in a while kind of thing for me. So part of what I wanted to do this year was try to find higher proof Irish whiskey. Now I'm trying to go back to what I was thinking about. But I haven't seen many. And I know another problem that's happened over the past year is tariffs. Yay. Imported whiskey costs more now. Wonderful. Glorious, we'll say. But that's how it is at the moment. Hopefully things will change. And the idea is in the future, whiskey delivery or liquor deliveries in general will be more common. I know right now where I am, as we were saying, not a thing. I can't get delivery because the laws are still very strict and we still have this kind of weirdness about alcohol in this country. It's very, if we look at why, it's because of certain religious influences, we'll say, where, enjoying anything is bad. Don't do it. Don't enjoy that alcohol. Like in Europe, I think it's 18. Canada, 18 years old, you can have liquor or beer or alcohol of any sort. But in our country, or at least in America, I should say, 21. Because you can go into the military and die for your country at 18, but you can't have a drink. You can't. That's the one stickler thing where I'm like, no, that's bad. 18 years old, it should be fine. In other countries, of course, it's even younger. I think some places it's 16. Some places there isn't one. But I know in my head, part of the problem is someone, at least in America, if someone says don't do something, you are going to do it. That's become incredibly apparent over the past year. It's saying, please do this or don't do that. And people will always do the opposite. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's not great. But that's how it is. And I think if we didn't have such a tight rein on alcohol for the youth, at least, they wouldn't do the crazy shit they do. I know I wouldn't have. Like if it was just a normal thing and if it wasn't so taboo, it might be different. I mean, it is in Europe anyway. People, granted, I say that not having ever gone to Europe. Let's be clear. But what I did do, a little story, is when I turned 18 with a bunch of my friends. Actually, it's when my friends turned 18. I was one of the older ones. So I was 18 before they were. All of us went to Canada. Before there was a border that was so tightly bound. Like we didn't need a passport or anything. You were just an American. You had your license. You went through. Forget about it, as they say. Back then, in the olden days when I was but a lad, we went across the border. We went across the border into Canada at the age of 18, and we got drunk. And we had some amazing steaks also. But yeah, that's what I remember about turning 18. Is since the law in America was don't drink, we're like, okay, let's go to Canada. 18, it's fine. I remember we had Goldschlager. Whoa. What else did we have? I have a picture. I have pictures. I have evidence of that time. Because thankfully, the one thing I've done for most of my life is photography in one way, shape, or form before it became, before it became this. This became photography. I used to have a camera, actual film. Oh, those were the days. I remember when we had to take our film to a store that developed it within the hour. Oh, those were the days. My boys, you remember. I don't remember anymore. I need to get into voice acting. That's one of the things I want to do as a job. Because I can do that from home. And I have a variety of different voices I could use. Old man being one of them. I'm going to pour more of this, by the way. going to pour more of this now so people know I'm going to pour more of this. Cheers. Sláinte. Cheers. Zdrowie. I'm not even sure if that's an actual toast. Prost is one. And this is what I was afraid of, by the way, is the... I love that sound. That's why I get quiet when I do that. Just want to hear that wonderful cork pop. That's complicated. I have this big yellow thing on the end of it. Oh, gosh. Well, the stream's gone longer than I thought it would, thankfully. And thank you for being here, whoever you are. Jason Busey especially, you are a legend. As I've noticed. You're a very kind and benevolent man. You have your generous soul, we'll say. And I don't know how you do it, but it's wonderful to see. Brightens my day. But I think whoever's here will probably want to go to Whiskey Central because she is going live in 15-ish minutes. I'm going to cut out a little before 5 o'clock because I know she starts then. I actually asked her about that yesterday when we were in ADHD Whiskies thing, oddly enough. Hiccups. Because I didn't want to go screaming when she was going to do anything because she actually has a lot of subscribers. She hit the 1K mark way before I did, and I still don't know how. I think part of it was the only 5 whiskeys you need, the Reddit thing, which is something I could do, but to be honest, I don't know what I'd pick. I kind of have an idea. I have an idea for a variety of whiskeys I'd want to /have. But that's for personal tastes. And also, I don't like the idea of being able to have only 5 whiskeys. That's a luxury in my head. To say, I have all this, but to only have 5. Oh, I am in a privileged position, to say the least, where I can say, only 5? Why? And that's a hard thought. That's not easy for me to work out, is to think about if you could only have 5 whiskeys, what would they be? And my brain goes, only 5? I can give you the gist of it. And it would probably be, there'd probably be 2 Scotches. There'd at least be 1 Irish. I know what it would be. And then there's the feeling that I want to have 1 bourbon and 1 Japanese, or 2 bourbons. That's where it gets tough. Uh-oh. Well, that's good. I hope you have an enjoyable meal, Jason, and I hope you come back sometime soon. Watch the replay for Whiskey Central because you won't be there. You'll be going and doing real stuff. It's like what I was doing at when Roy went live a couple days ago on his Patreon stream. I had to watch part of it in the wilds. But I hope you enjoy time with your family and eating the foods. Get something good. Hopefully you'll have whiskey there. That's always nice. And thank you for joining us. And I hope they're not buttering you up for something. But if they are, well, enjoy it all the more, I say. Cheers to you, sir. Come back and see us sometime. I don't know why I did that voice. Ow. Alcohol burns a thing. All right. Since Jason's leaving, since it's still fairly quiet, I know there are a couple people here, but I will cut out 10 minutes before Whiskey Central goes live just so there's no way I'm going to actually overlap. And also, because I've been drinking for a while and it's time for a bio break, as they say, and I don't want to get up and come back with only about a few minutes left. So I got to come up with a better toast out of some sort, but this will do for now. I've been using it for a while. Until next time, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. And Sláinte to you and yours. Till next time, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And hopefully I'll stream again soon. Okay, bye.